Hello, this is Julius from Basic Financials. This video is going to be about saving in children's savings accounts. Often the bank rates, especially for adult accounts at the moment, are not very good interest rates. I mean, if you're lucky, you might get 2% on something that you fix in for two or 3 years, but apart from that, it's very poor on cash savings. Whereas the banks tend to offer much better rates for children's accounts. Sometimes that might mean sort of locking away some money for a period of time, but another way is for regular savings accounts for children. So for example, I think at the moment, we're just starting April 2019 when I'm talking about this, I think Halifax are offering a children's regular savings account where you can pay in £100 a month and the interest rate is 4.5%, and you can't withdraw any money from that, and that interest rate will be fixed for 4.5% for a year, so you pay that in for a year. Now that's £100 a month, not particularly lots of money, is it? But and obviously when you've got to pay in monthly, your average balance for the year is half of the actual total amount, so it's not really that great. But if you've got lots of children and you're putting money away for them, you might as well be doing it in their accounts at better rates than thinking, oh, I'll keep this aside for my children in my account, which is earning much less interest. So that's a little bit about it. Now another thing that is offered for children is junior ISAs. So much like adult ISAs, the junior ISAs have a lower maximum limit you can put in at the moment. So for the year ended 5th of April 2020, the amount is £4,368 that you can put in per child, and that can come from anywhere. So it could come from the child themselves, it could come from a parent, come from a grandparent. So that's worth using as well. And if you have a child trust fund from a previous time when the government were setting children up with, they were putting money into a child trust fund, that scheme's finished now, but some children will still have those accounts. If you don't want to keep it in that, you can transfer them into a junior ISA as well, and I don't think that would count towards your allowance, so you could transfer and input in some more money as well. Now, something to watch for if you save money not in a junior ISA. Well, one of the advantages of a junior ISA is that, like other ISAs, they're tax-free. Now, okay, most children wouldn't pay tax on their interest anyway because they probably haven't got enough income. They are taxable. Children are taxable just like anybody else, but they still get a personal allowance, so they could be earning £12,500 or receive £12,500. There's also a savings allowance of £5,000 for the first. So any income that they get over the £12,500 in savings, up to £5,000 would be tax free. Then on top of that, there's the personal savings allowance of £1,000 they get. So they could actually be receiving quite a lot of interest before paying any tax. But a reason for putting it into an ISA is because if the money comes from you, if the interest that they earn on their account is more than £100, then it's basically taxed as if it was your interest. So the reason for that is to stop basically parents investing in their children's names and using their children's tax-free allowances, which is fair enough. That is per parent, so a parent could put in money and earn up to £100 of interest on that would be okay. And another parent could do the same. So it's £100 each, but watch out, because if it goes over £100 for what you've put in, then the whole lot is taxable. So that would be a reason. If you think you can build up quite a lot and it's going to earn more than that in interest, then you might want to put it into a junior ISA instead. Now, the thing with the junior ISA is it does lock the money away. It can't be accessed until your child is 18. You can open it, and you would be cast as the main contact on the on the account, but the money is the child's money. From the age of 16, the child can manage their own account. They can actually open up their own account as well from that age, and also a child 16 can also open a normal cash ISA, an adult cash ISA, as well as their own junior ISA. So they could actually potentially put £20,000 into an adult ISA and 4,368 into a junior cash ISA. I've been saying cash ISAs. They can actually also be stocks and shares ISAs. So just like with adults, you can have cash ISAs or stocks and shares ISAs, or a mixture of both. The junior ISA can be the same as well. So you can have you could have some in a junior stocks and shares ISA and some in a cash ISA. As usual, stocks and shares, you never know, could do really well, could do really badly. Cash ISAs, safe, but don't earn a great deal of interest. But children's rates are much better than the adult rates on the whole. So another thing you could take advantage of with this is it'd be a good way of introducing your children to banks and savings and watching out for interest rates. I've talked about a bit in a previous video about just getting your children into the habit of maybe saving some of their pocket money. Well, maybe as they get a bit older, you could introduce them, get them to help you choose which bank to put money in. Maybe they've been into the high street with you and seen various banks. You could start pointing them out. Say, look, there's a Halifax, there's a Nationwide. Those are the ones that are typically on the bank, or Santander, etc., etc. And then you could show them about it online, and they could help you set one up and get them to keep looking at the interest rates and tell just to see why you're doing what you're doing. They're probably not going to be too worried about it, but it's just a little starter. Now, another thing to think about is you can actually save in other ways for your children if you want to be starting savings accounts. You could actually instead open up a pension scheme for them. You could start putting money into a pension scheme for your children from any age, and there are limits on the amount you can put in. It's between £3,000 and £4,000 a year you can put in, if they're not earning anything, that is, anyway. But anyone can put that money in, and the government would add 25% to it, and that would be quite a good way of saving for your children. But bear in mind that that's locked away until they're 55. That's the rules at the moment. It could change. Government might increase it till when you're 85, for all you know, but at the moment it's 55, and it's fairly flexible to get the money once you get to that age, as the rules stand. There are other things as well. Once you get to 16, you've got like Help to Buy ISAs, lifetime ISAs, and things like that to watch out for as the children get older. But yeah, so it's just a little thought on using the better interest rates that are offered by banks. I suspect they offer them because they feel that the children might get some sort of allegiance to that bank and stay with them in the future, and they're probably right as well. But anyway, that's a little thought. And if you got any comments or questions, put them in the comments below. Subscribe and like as usual, and thanks for listening.